Full time here at Nolan Park, where it has ended Kilkenny 221, Waterford 21 points. Both teams advancing to the semi final stages of the league. Kilkenny topping Division 1B with their win today. Michael Walsh, you were watching the game today. How impressed were you with this Kilkenny performance?
Yeah, again on the back of the Dublin performance, another very impressive display by Kilkenny again today. A very interesting kind of a game. Kind of petered out a bit, I thought, in the second half, but the effort from both teams was very strong. And as I said, Kilkenny definitely in a good place at the moment.
Any particular players there that stood out for you most today?
Well, the one that impressed me the most was the centre forward, Pádraig Walsh. I thought he had an absolutely brilliant game. But what I've also been very impressed with in the last couple of games with Kilkenny is their defence as a unit has been absolutely outstanding. And I think that's a huge sign going forward. I think they were very, very strong, as I said, as a unit. And a young lad like Mikey Butler is doing really well in his first year.
What is it about the defence that maybe has changed for you as the league has gone on?
I think that Kilkenny are playing a little bit deeper than they would have before, and they're not probably as exposed as much. Now, today in the first half they were, and Waterford, to be fair to them, should have got 2 goals in that first 15-20 minutes. But Kilkenny then kind of dropped back. Killian Buckley plays kind of as a spare man around the middle of the field, but they take it in turns to kind of drop in there, and I think they stopped that supply that Waterford were given, that sharp ball that Waterford were playing, and I think that was a big factor in the game because in that early stages Waterford were running through and were leading 8 points to 4 when Austin Gleeson missed that absolutely crucial goal, and they missed one just before that as well with a bad hand pass. But in fairness to Kilkenny, they stuck at it, and once Killian Buckley got the goal, I think that's where the match changed.
Do you think that backline we saw today, that could be the championship? Maybe one or two other players coming in, but more than likely you will be seeing maybe the half backline, Mikey Carey, Richie Reid, David Blanchfield, man of the match there today, very impressive. Do you think that could be the half backline?
I wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, Paddy Deegan wasn't playing today, so look at he will start, and it's where he plays, I suppose, is the key. But that's I always say this: when you have competition in places and you're not sure who's playing, it really concentrates the player's mind. And you can see with Kilkenny in the last 2 matches, they've really upped everything about them: their work rate, their energy, and subs coming in making a difference, which is always a good sign of a good spirit in the panel.
And we're talking about the back line doing well, impressing. And yes, you have Pádraig Walsh in the half forward line, impressing. For you, where exactly is his best position for Kilkenny? Is it a case of day to day just see the opposition and maybe Pádraig Walsh play in a certain position that he's needed?
I think at the moment that he has that position nailed down. Like his best position, like he's so good in any position. But I think that at the moment he's going to play at 11. He's been so good there. He's made a huge difference to the whole thing, and he just moves, and it's very hard to pin him down. He's on today. He's drifting right, drifting left, and he's fierce accurate when he gets the ball. And I think that position he's been playing at 11, and I think that's going to be a huge plus for Kilkenny because remember, TJ Reid didn't play today. Owen Coley didn't start, and what an impression he made when he came on. So good signs all over.
The balance of that half forward line there with Walter Walsh, as you said, TJ Reid come back in. It looks impressive physically, skillful. Like everything about it just seems to be clicking right there in that position. The full forward line though, do you think Kilkenny that's maybe somewhere they may need to look at to improve?
Well, it's funny. Up to today, that full forward line was really good and really sharp. And Billy Ryan still got 1-1 today. Martin Jones had a quieter day than normal. But those two were playing brilliantly up to that. But I think, again, I go back to the fact that it's someone different every day. And I think that's another good sign in the team that you're not dependent on the same lad the whole time. But as regards Pádraig Walsh, as I said to you, I think he'll definitely start at 11 and maybe TJ will play inside. I don't know. Look, who am I to second guess what Brian Cody will do? But at the same time, Pádraig Walsh has been absolutely the success of the league. I think him and Hugh Lawler have been absolutely outstanding.
Waterford today, what did you take from their performance today?
Well, I took in the first 20 minutes hugely impressive performance. I'm not sure, obviously like Kilkenny, they were down a number of players, very key players. In the first 20 minutes, they looked as if they were going to run the show. And I said, if they got one of those 2 goals, it would have made it a hugely interesting game. They completely died, I thought, after that. And they had to use their bench. Then they lost a man. So they were a bit all over the place. And look, they came up here to win. There's obviously no doubt about that. But when you are through, I suppose in your mind, you're saying, look, we have another big game coming next week, and maybe that played a factor. They certainly, from the 20th minute on the game, maybe a little bit more, looked very sluggish, but I think, Kilkenny have to take credit for that as well.
Austin Gleeson there today, impressive at times, but there were times there you felt he was trying to push things too much to, help his team there. Is that a part of his game he potentially really needs to get rid of? But at this, I think he's 26 now. Is it a case this is going to be Austin Gleeson for his career now?
I think that's the way he's played all his career. I think if you try and taper that a little bit, maybe you lose the effectiveness. Look, in fairness to him, yeah, he does things that are maybe at times that would antagonise his own manager and stuff like that. But then, in fairness, he was trying to carry the can there nearly on his own from up front, because the rest of the Waterford forwards, apart from Neil Montgomery, who did get 3 points from play, but he really was trying to carry it. But as I say, he does tend to overdo it sometimes. But I think that's part of the persona of Austin Gleeson, and I think he'll be like that. And they'll be hoping that more often than not he comes up the right side.
So we know the league semi-final pairings now: Kilkenny against Cork and Wexford against Waterford. Kilkenny Cork clashes down through the years. We know what they've been like. You know what they've been like. How do you expect that to fare out next week?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think it'll be a great game. Obviously, Cork went to Wexford today and were beaten. They again made about 8 changes, and they'll be at full strength, I'm sure, next week. The rumour around the place here is that it could be in Cork, that it's a home and away agreement, and that it's Cork's turn. We'll have to wait and see on that. But wherever it's played, I'm really looking forward to the game. It was a brilliant All-Ireland semi-final last year. I think both teams are in a really good place, and I think both of them really want to win the game. And I can't wait for it. The pace and power of Cork and Kilkenny having improved so much from earlier in the league, and it'll be a nip and tuck affair, I'm sure, as usual.
You mentioned Wexford there. They've had a fantastic league campaign. For the Leinster Championship, how interesting does it make to see Wexford going so well? And as a Kilkenny man, as a Kilkenny supporter, are you a bit worried now seeing this Wexford team that, you have Wexford there, Galway are going to be strong, Dublin thereabouts, but to see how strong Leinster is at the moment, you just don't know what 3 teams could get out of Leinster this year at the moment.
I actually think that's a brilliant point. A few weeks ago, I was very worried. I have definitely been, a lot more positive now since I saw Kilkenny in the last 2 games, and I think they possibly could be the team to beat at the moment. But look, Wexford have won all their games, and they're in a really tough division, and they'll be absolutely thrilled. And they're playing a really good brand of hurling as well, under Dara. And I just think that this Leinster thing is wide open. But I think Kilkenny, from maybe a few weeks ago, being a little bit behind, are now right up there, and it's absolutely not certain who the 3 teams are going to be. At the moment, I'd say Dublin maybe a little bit out, but they're going okay as well. And those battles in Leinster are going to be absolutely ferocious. And everyone talks about Munster, and look, Munster is huge, and rightly so. But the 3 teams in Leinster, who could you pick at the moment? I don't know, because they're all very competitive.
I want to get your thoughts, Michael. There on the hurling pod during the week, we have Paul Murphy, former Kilkenny hurler, and James Skehill, a former Galway hurler, along with Will O'Callaghan. And they had to pick their top hurlers in the country at the moment, their top 5. And Paul Murphy had TJ Reid in it, as we'd expect. James Skehill left them out, though. Are you surprised about that, to leave TJ Reid out of your top 5 hurlers in the country?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't ever leave him out anyway. But maybe James was coming from the point of view he hasn't. I don't know what way that went as regards are they hurling at the moment. But in the top 5 hurlers in the country, absolutely never. I think that he's going to be. I think TJ will be watching this, and he'll be saying, what, there's a real good energy about Kilkenny, and I think he'll come back in there, and he could be an orchestrator of that forward line as well. And no, every day of the week TJ Reid's in my top 5 anyway.